I don't stand side by side with nobody till I bleed with them first.
What did we just see? You probably think this world is a dream come true.
When I step into this ring, yeah, bro, I am addicted.
Don't sleep on Luca!
Maybe tomorrow we'll all wear 42.
You fight for your dreams will fight for you!
Coming out of the UK, PinkPantheress is a female pop artist and producer whose music is unique to say the least. PinkPantheress has gained a lot of attention and traction over the past couple of years due to her unique approach to music. Whether it is her unique production or the tempo of her music, she's garnered quite the fan base, and I was curious to check out her music. I've heard a lot about her. I even specifically remember, around the same time when she was coming up and hearing a lot of people talking about her. I've heard various snippets from her on various social media sites like TikTok, but never had I dove into her music. And one of the reasons for this was the genre of her music, mainly the sort of subgenre that, she pertains to, at least from the beginning of her career. There's a lot of ways to describe the pop music of PinkPantheress, but her early days, many categorized her in the sort of hyper pop subgenre. Now it is up to her fans to decide if that was a fair categorization, but around the time she was starting up, that's what I was hearing people categorize her as. Now, two of the main characteristics we've seen lately from this genre is, the inclusion of like auto-tune and of course the songs being of very short length. Now, I have no issue with auto-tune or short songs, but hyperpop essentially builds itself on a specific sort of vocal style. It really maximizes its time, and with the shorter songs, it's either you get a lot to digest in such a short amount of time, or there isn't really enough to assess. I get all this out the way because these sort of thoughts I had on the genre affected my listening experience of To Hell With It is the 2021 mixtape release of PinkPantheress, coming in at 10 songs, 18 minutes. Yes, you heard that right. Again, just like with every single project up until this point, I tried to remain as open-minded as possible, wanting to give each artist, album, and song a fair shot. Once again, we all have our own opinions and reasons for liking and disliking things, and one's enjoyment should not be affected by other people's opinions. Again, I'm just a random guy just wanting to share my experiences. My opinions should hold no value to your experiences, your listening experiences, such and such. Just wanted to get that out the way, as it seems some people recently have completely misunderstood the point of all of this. Anyways, getting back to the main focus, this was always going to be a bit of a difficult barrier for me to overcome. You just really have to pay attention here more than any other album. This is a sort of like blink and you miss it type of situation. Getting into this record, when it came to songs like I Must Apologize and Last Valentine's, I was enjoying them, but the main thing that was putting me off to these songs was the vocal pitch. As I mentioned in the Vivici video, I appreciated the longer songs in K-pop, as K-pop recently has just been going that route of shorter songs with this sort of like idea of just like there's less meat on the bone for you, and I knew what I was getting into when reviewing an artist like PinkPantheress, and again, I did my best to remain as open-minded, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean I'm going to end up liking it even if I try and remain as open-minded as possible. I'm not saying that all short-form media is bad. In fact, I'm typically one who calls for shorter albums. I just think the main issue here, like I said, was there wasn't enough. Like, it was very difficult to try and process these songs without trying to play them over and over, because they are short, and a lot of times due to the nature of hyperpop comes with these effects that make it a bit harder to distinguish what is being said. Overall, I don't have much to say with this project other than to check it out on your own and see how you feel about this genre and overall style of music. Heaven Knows is the debut studio album of PinkPantheress, releasing this past year at 13 songs, 34 minutes. After going on about the short length of her previous record, we now reach her debut record, where it is now almost twice as long. Once again, went in with an open mind and was glad to see the extended length this time around. Now, the first song was a pretty good start, but I just didn't like the feature that much. PinkPantheress was really good vocally on this track. The production and instruments were great, but I just didn't like this sort of like Cardi-esque style feature from Rima. True Romance was a favorite of mine. I loved the vibes of this one, and once again really liked the vocals on this one. Mosquito was great as well. I really enjoyed the soft nature of this song, and it's that point I sort of want to expand on. I found myself enjoying this record a lot more than the previous one, and I think the reason for that is that while it still contained elements of hyperpop, PinkPantheress really started leaning more into that dream pop subgenre. You know, she started putting more focus on these softer sounds and a lot of times letting her natural singing take center stage. However, on tracks like The Isle, she utilized those vocal effects well to where they actually matched the sound really well. When it came to the track Bury Me, I have to highlight that I really enjoyed Kilela's vocals. I hope I pronounced that right again. Very specific with names. Internet Baby's opening instrumental was so good. I really enjoyed it, and it just upsets me that this was really only like an interlude and was only about like 2 minutes long. Feel Complete was real good, and I remember hearing the snippet on TikTok before, and for some reason I like that version a bit better. I don't know if there's anything actually different. I haven't gone to compare, but like just when I was listening and when I do my re-listens, you know, I was listening to it and I was just like, it sounds good, but it doesn't sound like the original snippet. I don't know if that's just me. For Feelings, I really like the pitch PinkPantheress used here. Capable of Love was an absolute smash hit for me, from the vocals to the lyrics to production. Everything was great to me. I also loved the incorporation of various sounds like the church bells. Overall, I liked this record more, as it just felt there was really more for me to get into with this one. Overall, this experience was short with just 2 records, and obviously this is going to be a very short video, not usually, you know, to the length of previous videos, but it's still quite the unique one. PinkPantheress is just a different type of artist and is paving her own way in the musical world. There is a lot to mention that doesn't necessarily pertain to a certain record. For example, she has built an immense following by simply understanding her audience and how to utilize social media to her advantage. She has taken leaps in her production and has even gone out and said that she has aspirations to be on the level of a Rick Rubin. While I can't say this genre is much to my taste, I still found songs from her to enjoy and applaud her for all her various talents. And just because there were things I didn't enjoy, don't think that completely rules them out. I still always check out any future record from any artist just to see. An example I can give is the K-pop group ITZY. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily a fan of theirs, but I still check out each release to see if anything changes. Maybe they do something different and I end up liking it. So is the same for every artist. I'm always looking for new music and love keeping tabs on all these different artists. It's especially fun when you get to see the growth and the experiments done from record to record. So I look forward to any future PinkPantheress record, and perhaps later on we can come back to her. As it stands, even though there's just only 2 records, my current rankings for PinkPantheress discography goes as follows. To Hell With It at last, obviously, and Heaven Knows at first. Again, pretty short discography, but again, still pretty unique. Still recommend everyone checking them out to see what they think of this sort of style. And again, like I said, just excited for her future records and just to see where she goes from here. As far as going forward, we're not only going to go back in time, but we're going to take it down south. In Atlanta, Georgia, we find what I believe to be the answer to who is the greatest musical duo of all time, Outkast.